All right, let's see.
I can see you.
All right, cool, I'm in.
And we're live. Okay, so there's going to have to figure out which one of us is talking, and that's my spice rack behind us. Hi, everybody. This is Mo Krochmal in New York City, and I am speaking with Marcus Vanderberg. Hi, Marcus. Where are you at today?
I am in Playa Vista, California, which is basically Los Angeles. It's a little, it's named Silicon Beach. It's a development that's sort of popped up over the last 5 to 10 years.
It's been a little bit of, it's been a minute or two since the last time we talked, but I'm so glad to be able to spend a moment or two with you on a Sunday, catching you in between assignments, or you're at work right now.
Yes, I am.
So tell me, give me a little bit about what you do and how long you've been doing it.
Sure. So I am the baseball editor for Yahoo Sports. I have been at Yahoo for now since 2012, and my path here was not the conventional one. I started at Yahoo as a contractor, which was essentially a 6-month position on our programming desk. So what a programmer does at Yahoo is essentially, if you go to Yahoo Sports and you see the stories on the Yahoo Sports front page, a programmer is the person responsible for picking those stories, creating headlines, creating cut lines, photos, etc. So I did that. I worked the nights and weekend shifts here. So 4 to midnight, Saturdays, Sundays, holidays, you name it, I was working it. And I did that for about a year. So my contract got picked up once. And before my contract got picked up a second time, I was offered a full-time position. So essentially, the only thing that changed would be the benefits factor, which is a great thing. So I was protected as a full-time employee. And I continued to sort of climb up the ladder here at Yahoo. I was promoted to a deputy editor for the program and production team. So I was doing less of the day-to-day stuff and doing more managing of our staff. And in November of last year, I made the switch from programming to editing and became the baseball editor. And I just wrapped up the first season as baseball editor last month and getting ready for winter meetings starting tomorrow, Monday.
Where are they going to be at? Will they be in Arizona?
Winter meetings this year is in DC, actually.
Wow, so coming across the country, I hope the weather is good for flying. What time are you leaving?
Oh, I'm actually staying put. It's easier for me to do what I need to do from the office compared to being on site.
Do you go out to the stadiums, or do you do work from the office?
So primarily, I'm working from the office. I did spend some time out in spring training in March of this past year in Arizona doing some stuff with our video team and our bloggers. I went to one playoff game out here, the Dodgers-Cubs series, but primarily, and All-Star game as well over the summer, but primarily my day-to-day stuff is in the office.
You talked a little bit about the skills, and I was wondering what advice you could give students these days on what skills they should have if they want to go into sports. So a lot of people want to go into sports. I spent 10 years of my career doing sports, as you know. But what are the essential skills? What got you? I can tell from what you were saying, you worked hard. You were able to handle anything that's going. You're handling news as the process goes on. What can you tell students who are interested in working like you do in sports?
So the first skill that is going to always be the most important, especially if you want to write and be a reporter, is reporting. You need to know how to report. That is something that won't ever go away. Even if you're writing for a blog, you still need to know how to report a story. So I think that's the biggest skill or lack of skill that I find with young students today. At work, I'm also in charge of our internship program. So I see a lot of resumes from college kids. And the one thing I do think they're lacking is reporting skills and reporting internships where they're actually developing sources on their beat, et cetera. So I think if you start with reporting, that's the key. Besides that, I would say definitely hone in on a specialty. I think the other flaw I see on a lot of resumes is a lot of kids are doing a lot of things, which is great in theory, but it's hard to narrow down what exactly you want to be. And when I asked young kids, what exactly do you want to do? I get 5 different answers. And, if you were to tell me, hey, I want to become a baseball beat reporter, that's great. You can focus in on that one thing compared to I want to do on air and write and podcasts. And, that's great in theory, but as a 22-year-old, there's not many companies that are going to allow you to do all those things from the jump. So you should really focus in on what exactly you want to do and be the best at that.
So how do
Go ahead.
When you're 22, you want to do everything, and you think you can do everything. How do you decide what you think you can do best at?
I think what I would do and what I did is sort of use my journalism courses in college to sort of figure out what exactly I'm good at and what exactly I enjoy. And by taking some of these courses, like a copy editing course or a radio class, and you sort of get a chance to get hands-on and see if you actually like doing something or not. And from there, you sort of pick a lane and go from there.
If all things are the same, and somebody comes to you, they've got clips, they have a focus, and they happen to have 5,000 followers on Twitter and another 1,000 on Instagram and a bunch of Snapchat friends, would that make a difference?
It would depend on the job itself. If I'm hiring you for a social media position, sure, that would make an impact because I could see that you have a social traction, you have social following, you're familiar with the different platforms. But if you're trying to become a baseball blogger, I would say that that's not probably a top priority for me. I would probably want to see your clips first and foremost with your experience, and then after that, I'll sort of see where you are in terms of the social ranking.
So getting out into the field and reporting, gathering information, gathering sources, being able to turn stories around and add value are essential, the important skills from what I get from our discussion.
Yeah, if you want to write. So, I mean, we do also do social media here. And I do think if you're sort of looking for your footprint in journalism, I would say definitely look into social media. Professor Krochmal is someone who introduced me to Twitter in 2008. And he was sort of ahead of things, and I thank him for that. But if you want to really look into social media and look into mobile, mobile is something that is still untapped within the industry, and it's something that, to be honest, pays a lot more than day-to-day journalism. So if you really want to get your foot in the door, look in those 2 avenues.
When you say mobile, so what are the skills? What are the things somebody could put into a portfolio?
For mobile, I would say, so what we do here at Yahoo is we have a mobile alerts team, and this is something that a lot of other sites, ESPN, Bleacher Report, they all have teams that all they do is handle mobile alerts. And if you're not familiar with mobile alerts, it's essentially, it's sending you a notification to your smartphone from an app, and it's basically getting you the nitty gritty. It's trying to suck you in with a catchy headline, and from that headline, they want you to open the app and read the story, etc. So with that, I mean, it's with college, you can probably answer this question better than me, but are they offering college courses that focus on mobile?
Not right now. It's coming, but in fact, I wrote a chapter on a book on mobile journalism, mobile education that it was published this summer, and it just talks about all institutions are slow. The mobile revolution has been really quick. Think about it. 2007, the first iPhone came out, and that really started this revolution that we're at now. And I think you're starting to see people understand the idea of being mobile first or being mobile friendly. And, Snapchat is accelerating that, especially with the IPO.
Mm-hmm. In that case, I would say definitely make sure you're up on all the mobile trends and the mobile apps. So if that does come up in the interview process, you can at least sound familiar with the product. And another thing I would sort of, if I have a Twitter account, I would focus tweets that would appear in a mobile account. So create tweets that are a catchy headline with a photo linking to an asset, and you might, that way have something you can share with employees and say, hey, look, I can create these tweets that will do well on your mobile app.
That is awesome. That's super advice. Let me ask you this. What skill would you like to have that you don't have?
Video editing. I can't edit a lick, and I don't need it for my day-to-day, but it would be a great skill to have. Because I do have creative video ideas at times that I would love to be able to just go out and shoot and edit my own, but I just can't do it.
So what are the formats of video that you guys use? Would 1-minute videos be doing work the job, 30 seconds, GIFs?
GIFs is definitely a skill that we use on our social team on a day-to-day basis. I think our sweet spot for videos at Yahoo would be 2 minutes and under. And that's what we really shoot for. So with our original clips, we sometimes do longer projects. And by longer, I only mean 5 to 6 minutes max. We usually don't do a lot of long form video. So those 1 to 2 minute video reaction pieces really do well for us. So if I could, if I knew how to edit those and sort of shoot those, that'd be great. But
so
what happened? What happened, Professor? I didn't learn those skills.
You and I are going to talk offline because that's something you can totally easily do with your phone.
Okay.
And that bar is not as high as broadcast. You got to turn it around fast, but shoot. Are you an iPhone or an Android guy? Let's feel the real news here.
iPhone.
Good. Then you're going to download Splice.
Okay.
And play around with that. And then you and I, we go back a long way since 2008. I'll work with you.
Okay.
And it's fun. You can, telling stories. I'm preparing for next semester when I'm going to be doing a digital storytelling class, which will really take things to it's not only about journalism, but storytelling in business and marketing, politics, if you will.
Not touching politics. not going there.
Well, storytelling is one of these huge trends, and it goes beyond being able to deal with all these platforms and putting together a cohesive message and using the tools that are available, which is very cool. All right. Let me ask you this. In just the mechanics of doing a story, more useful for online would be like a second day lead, an analysis. If you go to a ball game, it's not really important to get the score anymore or quotes, but really to bring a little spin.
Yeah, so for online, we don't do traditional gamers. A lot of our stories from guys who are attending games sort of take an angle or have an opinion and they sort of spin it forward. So we find traffic-wise that if we do a traditional gamer off a story, it does not really do well for us. So it's imperative that our writers have strong opinions about what they're covering, the subject they're covering, and also the ability to, get those sources and maybe provide some insight or some news within that column that another beat reporter might not have.
Speed is still critical.
I think speed is more critical now than ever, especially for social media. We find that if we're 5 minutes late on a tweet, the engagement we see goes down a lot. So I think speed is critical, and I think sometimes that means sort of leveraging, or not leveraging, sort of not waiting for the story to be live. If we can get a tweet out without the asset, sometimes we'll do it just to get it out there and get it in the social world and not worried about the page view or the click.
But that's like good karma. It'll pay off in the long run.
Definitely pays off with the user, because the user knows, hey, if you follow Yahoo Sports on Twitter, then you can get the information right away compared to 20 minutes later when we might have an asset. And a user might not click on that link. So it's very good for us to get it out there.
So that was one hell of a year in baseball for your first year in your position.
It was a fun year. It was a lot of ups and downs in terms of not the job itself, but just baseball in general. The down being Jose Fernandez, and that death sort of caught everyone off guard. And I mean, to be honest, was asleep and was probably an hour late figuring out what happened. It was a early morning death. And the up being the Cubs winning the World Series and just everything behind the playoffs with the Indians in general and Indians and Cubs. So yeah, it was an interesting season.
What's your thoughts on the season ahead?
For 2017, now that the CBA has been approved and we'll have baseball next season, I would say that the Cubs are definitely still the favorites for next year. At the moment, I can't see anyone really challenging them, but baseball is such a weird sport that there's always a team, this year being the Indians, that come out of nowhere to make a run. So I'm not sure who that team will be next year, but expected.
What about Moneyball?
I think Moneyball has sort of transformed into Moneyball 2.0. I would use the Dodgers as an example with Andrew Friedman in their front office. Friedman is a guy who, I think the Dodgers, despite their ginormous payroll, are sort of looking into baseball from an analytics sense. And Friedman has a staff of guys who are looking at different free agencies and different scenarios. And I think Moneyball has evolved. It's not the Oakland A's of 2000 where you're sort of locked into doing it for specific budget. I really think it has expanded some.
One last question. If people want to contact you, what's the best way? And this is going live on YouTube, so with that cautionary note.
Well, two things. One, if you're interested in interning for Yahoo Sports next summer, you can email me at Marcus, Marcus, V as in Victor, at yahoo-inc.com. You need to be enrolled in school, which means no graduating seniors. You need to have a 3.5 GPA or above. If you're close, you can still email me and sort of make your case. And the internships are in Los Angeles, but we do provide travel and housing stipend for that. So don't feel like you're not eligible to apply.
That is
And
awesome.
I'm on social media at Marco Will, Marcowill.
That is awesome. I appreciate you so much spending the time with me. I appreciated you in 2008 taking a class with me. We get to have a chance to meet regularly and talk about the world and your work. I probably still have a paper or two from you.
Oh, no. Don't show that to the kids, please.
I will not. When you have kids, that's what they're getting. Graduation present.
Glad to be of help. Thank you.
All right. We'll talk soon. Thank you, Marcus.
Okay.